Okay. Um, okay, so I'm not doing anything fancy because I am exhausted and it's been a
No
rough.
worries.
So I'm actually talking about group contingencies.
Hmm.
Yeah, because it was something that I had taught in the past, and it's something that I'm familiar with and not too um, challenging to wrap your head around, right? So, and that's chapter, what chapter is it? 26 with the
Okay.
token economies. Yeah. So, um, the definition of group contingencies is just a common consequence is contingent on the behavior. And there's a few different kinds of group contingencies. There's three. There's the rationale between using group contingencies is that can save you time. Um, they're practical, and it capitalizes on peer influence and peer monitoring. Although I think sometimes that can be harmful. Um,
So is the idea behind group contingency, make sure that I'm on the right track with you,
mhm.
is it that like an example would be, all right, class, if you all turn your homework in on Friday, we will get a prize?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So there's and that's if everyone turns in their homework and then everyone will get a prize is interdependent. So
Hmm.
there's three different kinds of group contingencies.
Okay.
Um, so there's independent, dependent, and interdependent. So the first one that I see the most in classrooms, and I've had a classroom 1 year, and then I've worked with kids like one at a time. So group contingencies never really worked for me because I don't have a group. But the when I go in to support kids, it seems like independent is what we see most, and so that's like those green light, red light with your what are they? Clothes. What am I talking about?
Clothespins?
Clothespins. Yeah, clothespins, right? Yeah. And so the kids can move up and down the color line or whatever, depending on how well their behavior is doing. So that's independent. So the contingency is based upon the members of the group, but reinforcement is only given to those who meet the criteria, right?
Hmm.
And so that's often combined with contracts or token systems. Um, so an example would that be like all kids who remain in their seat during a specific amount of time will receive a reward, or all kids who were quiet during reading time or whatever will receive the reward. Um, it's only dependent on each kid's um, behavior, so it's the independent group contingency.
Okay, and then would the reinforcer vary per kid, or the reinforcer is the same for the group, and then just the criteria is the same for everybody, the reinforcer is the same for everybody, it just depends
Yes,
on who meets the criteria.
yes. So the
Okay.
reinforcer does not change, right? And so
Okay.
that is one of the cons. Is that so? The advantage is that each student is responsible for their own behavior, right?
Hmm.
The con is that not all students will find the reward reinforcing, so you're not going to get everybody to do it.
Yeah.
Um, and so then the other types of contingencies involve other reinforcers. So dependent, um, it's also called the hero procedure because the reinforcer for the group is dependent on the performance of one kid or one small group of kids. So it's like if John meets his behavior goal for the week, then the entire class receives the reward.
Hmm.
That's the dependent group consistency. And so um, the pro is that classmates will encourage John to achieve his goal, right? He's got a little bit of peer pressure. And so it's not just, oh, I receive this reward. It's also I'm helping my friends receive a reward too.
Hmm.
The con is that it can cause a lot of pressure, especially if the student struggles to meet that goal. So I think it's you can use Dependent group contingencies, but you have to make sure that it is a goal that the kid can
Attain.
obtain, right? Otherwise, you're
Yeah.
just causing him pain. Correct. Yeah, right. So it's like when I think of that, I don't know. um, when I think of that type of group contingency, I always think of Full Metal Jacket. Have you seen that movie?
Um, Bits and pieces, but
So this one guy is having a hard time in basic training, and they can't figure out. And I think it's probably because he is maybe a little intellectually disabled, but he's having trouble following directions. And finally, the drill sergeant says, if he can't do it, none of you are going to get move on to the next phase or whatever. So they take
ah,
yeah, they take bars of soap in the middle of the night and they take turns beating him with it. So that's what I always think of when someone's using dependent.
what's the guy's name?
Oh, what's his name? I cannot remember what is his name? I don't know.
Uh,
It's a famous scene. You've probably heard of it or seen it, or and he
is
goes.
that a Stanley Kubrick film?
Yes, yes. And so he goes crazy and he shoots the drill sergeant one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So every time I think dependent group agency, I was like, oh God, that's beating someone with bars of soap.
Now, what about like Harry Potter? How everyone's like, not that anyone puts the expectation on him, but it's like, but he's like the hero. Like everyone's rooting for him. They're helping him to like find all these little stones. I don't know if you've seen Harry Potter, know the
Yeah,
story,
yeah.
but
No, I'm a big
uh,
Potterhead. But you're yeah. But and it's true, but think about the pressure he's under too. And
right.
no one also wants to believe him. So,
Hmm.
right? Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely and it works because he has to save everybody, right? It's not just about saving himself. He's
Right.
got to save everybody. So there's pressure for that, but um yeah. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of that one. And truthfully, I don't you see it used very often. Do you?
No, no. I would think it would take someone that has to be very skilled. It would probably take a lot of teaching of the group, um, like isolated from that person who's going to be the hero, and just say, hey, like we're going to do this because little Johnny is feeling like he's kind of left out of the class. It would take a lot of like tactfulness to like a social worker, like do some group mediating, and be like, we really want to get this guy involved. Make it like a almost like a fail safe type of like task where it's like he's going to get it 100%, like he cannot miss,
Mm-hmm.
because we want to celebrate him, we want to like bring him into the group, because a lot of behaviors that I do see in schools are like attention based, right? And kids that want attention but don't know how
Oh,
to get it. So if I saw that, if I saw that this kid is getting constantly in trouble, I could see myself saying, what, let's try this, but definitely teaching and coaching the group first and saying, hey, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, and this is how it's going to help us all. And then setting it up, and then seeing the kid be successful, and then feeling like, oh, like I got it. Everything that I've been trying to do, this maladaptive behavior, by doing this one appropriate behavior, it got me all this attention. I could see it. I could see it working, but it would
yeah.
have to be tactful.
Yeah, so you make a great point. It really depends on what contingency you use depends on what behavior you're trying to achieve, right?
Right.
Right. So that wouldn't work if he's got to learn all of his letters by the end of the week or something like that. Right?
Right.
Right, right. So if you're just trying to increase or remove the negative attention he's receiving, yeah, yeah, that may be it. Um, but trying to get him to do more jumping jacks, that's not going to help.
No, yeah, you just beat him with rocks. No.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so the pro is that oh, say wait a second. Oh, that there's supposedly positive peer pressure, but and so like the good behavior game is an example of this. No, 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 I jumped. Sorry. Um, the con is that there's a lot of pressure, and the pro is that other kids will encourage you to meet their goal. And so the last contingency is interdependent group contingency. And that just says all of the kids in the group must meet the criterion for everyone to receive the group. And so this is the good behavior game. Have you heard of that one?
I have heard of it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I've listened. I've grasped it
Yeah.
as well.
So the teacher sets up a contingency, and everyone has to meet it. And a lot of times, what happens is they cut the class in half, so there's two teams,
Mm.
and so the teams are trying to have good behavior, um, and then win at the end of the week. Um, so the kids that win get the reward. Um, but so with that, all kids would have to remain in their seats to be able to receive the award. The pro is this seems to be the better of the contingencies, in that you get the positive peer pressure, but it's not quite as it doesn't rest on the shoulders of one person. So not one person, although one person could blow it for everybody. Um, but it's not one person has to do it for everyone.
Yeah,
Um,
I actually, I don't know. I've unintentionally, without knowing the terminology, have
mhm,
done the interdependent um, group contingency,
mhm.
where I'll say, all right, like as soon as everyone is ready,
Oh,
as soon as I
okay.
see everyone sitting down quietly, we will go.
Mhm,
So the all the kids do it except this one, and he's not getting ready. And everyone's like, "Come on, man, let's go! Like, I want to go outside. I want to go play." And then
mhm,
he's like, "Shut up! Like, you can't tell me what to do." And then because I feel like in the interdependent, you have a person. Let's just kind of talk about an individual. You have an individual who's doing the right thing.
mhm,
So he's like, "I've met the criteria, but I'm not in control, right?" So no matter how much I meet the criteria, no matter how good of a job I do, I cannot access the reinforcer because there's nothing I could do,
mhm,
right? Whereas in the dependent one, I almost like it better because it's like I don't if I don't get it, I didn't do anything anyway to get it. Like I didn't do any work to get it. Like maybe I could say, come on man, like keep it up, come on man, like stay in class or come on, you get your work done. But like for the most part, for the hero one, the dependent one, I could be passive and still get the reward. I could be really invested, but that investment depends on me and how invested I want to be.
mhm,
Um, and then I can still might get the reward. And if I don't get the reward, well, it's like, well, like I had the option to not be invested,
mhm.
right? But the interdependent one, it feels like you're at the whim of someone who maybe doesn't want to do it, and there's
Mhm.
nothing you can do to control it. And at least in my experience, kids want to be in control. And if you take that away from them, it feels very unfair to them.
Yeah. And it seems to me there are kids who want to be that kid at the end of the day, who's like preventing everyone from going to recess. That is part of their goal, right? That is the intention
Right.
that they're doing. So yeah, I'm with you. I like that. I was that kid who behaved well to begin with, and so I wasn't doing anything, but at the same time, whatever the teacher wanted to give as a reward, I knew I wasn't going to get it anyway because there was a whole group of kids that were never going to do it to begin with, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I like the independent, and I think that you could um, individualize it so that it is more effective. Yeah. So let's see.